These drawers just weren't pretty. They were kind of beat up and they used to have fabric inside. I got as much out as I could, but we're gonna decoupage with fabric. You're gonna grab your Mod Podge fabric and your favorite fabric and some good scissors. First, you're just gonna lay the fabric down, make sure that you're on the edge, and we're actually gonna use chalk to make an outline on the fabric. So I lined this up because there was a stripe, so I wanted to make sure it was perfectly straight. And I'm gonna run my yellow chalk along the edge. This doesn't hurt the fabric, it just gives me what I need to use my scissors to cut this fabric easily. I want it to be fit as good as possible after I cut it so I don't have to make any adjustments. So you can just see I'm softly running it around all the edges. Once that's done, I will take it off. I will grab a good pair of scissors that cuts fabric easily, and I will just cut along the outer edge of the chalk because I know that's exactly where my edge was. So I'm just going to carefully cut this here, and then it should just lay on top of the drawer perfectly. If we need to make an adjustment, of course, after we cut this out, we can make a small adjustment to the fabric before we actually adhere it down to the drawer front. Now that we're done with that part, we're just gonna lay our fabric down and make sure that it fits the way we'd like. This is the time that if you need to give it a little trim on this edge or that, that's where you're gonna trim it. It's easier that way than after you put it onto the piece. You're gonna grab your Mod Podge and a paintbrush. I just grabbed a junky paintbrush because Mod Podge is quite sticky when it dries. This one is specifically for fabric. It's in the blue container. You're gonna use a fair amount of Mod Podge. Make sure you get your edges, but your edges don't have the thickest part of the Mod Podge on them, because when you spread your fabric, it will move towards the edge and you don't want it steeping out. Make sure your whole surface is covered, and you want a good amount because it is gonna soak through the fabric. That's what makes it stick. Lay your fabric down. Fabric is super easy to decoupage with. There's not a whole lot of that can go wrong. And if you get a wrinkle or something, you pick it back up and you just do it again. It's unlike paper where you have more time to move. I just smooth it down with my hands. If you'd like to use a tool, you can do that, or a brayer, like the roller thing. You could use that too. I just use my hands. Make sure you pull it a tiny bit to cover all your edges. It will have a little bit of give in it. I just smooth it down, make sure there's nothing under it, make sure it's all tight, and I have nothing oozing out the end. You're gonna let this dry for quite a few hours, and when it doesn't feel tacky anymore, you're gonna add another coat. After a couple hours, you're gonna give it another quick coat with the Mod Podge. Not too thick, just make sure you cover the whole surface, concentrating on your ends, because if you have any fraying, this is where you're gonna get it to stick down and stay, so your fabric will never fray. Once this is dry, you'll have a waterproof coating on your fabric. It's just that easy. Let's take a look at how beautiful it is.